Hey friends, it's Journals for Breakfast. I am Andrea and you are so welcome here. So today we're going to talk about journals for 2025. We're going to talk about my word for 2025. We are going to look at my decorating the interior cover of my Hobonichi cousin for 2025. So we got a lot of fun stuff to get through. I am a avid journaler, as you well know, but I think for all of us, whenever we have something that we adore, knitting, crochet, painting, don't you have those spells where you can fade from it a little bit? Sometimes you're just so immersed in it. Sometimes it's just part of your system and routine, and that's just it. It's just system and routine. And every once in a while, you just start totally crushing on it again. That's where I am with journals right now. I am just totally crushing on them again. I'm watching all journaling content on YouTube. I am following journalers again. It's always part of my story. I never fade completely out of journaling. I always have some version going literally every single day of the week in some format. But right now, like if I'm scrolling through YouTube and I see that somebody's doing their 2025 planner, I stop and watch it. Like I cannot get away from it. I want to see everything about it. There's stickers and there are pages. I'm just crushing on journaling hardcore right now. So, do you pick a word for the year? I started this practice in 2017. I don't think that prior to that I had ever done something as like specific, like written it into the front of a journal for that year and referred back to it throughout the year. What that word meant to me in that moment, why I chose that word, and how that word evolved in my story throughout the next 12 months. Early on, my words had a tendency to be things that were kind of missing from my life that I wanted to anchor in and ground into and really make a part of my daily focus. So for example, one year around that 2017 timeframe, one of the words was boundaries. And I just spent the entire year reminding myself that boundaries were valuable and important and trying to teach myself how to set them. At that moment in time, I'd never considered boundaries. I didn't understand what they were about. And so, yeah, the word can be a mantra. It could be an affirmation. It could be something that you're trying to create in a life that you don't have right now. It could just be a gentle reminder of something to look back to that sort of settles you in every day. And so they vary over time. I know that one year the word was present. And again, it's not like a gift wrapped up with a bow. I meant now, in the now, present, be present in every moment. I was very caught up in my workaholic burnout days. I was very stuck in the future. What's coming, what's coming, what's coming. And some of that is because my career required it. As a caterer and running a cooking school, we were booked anywhere between 4 and 8 months out. So by June, I could tell you what I was going to be doing for every day in December. My clients were already booking me for their holiday parties and etc. And being booked that far out and committed that far out kind of converted my brain waves to always looking towards the future. And so it was really important for me to start building a practice that was being present just in this moment. And I'm happy to report that in the last several years, I've gotten very good at that. And it does bring me a lot of peace. It's very grounding. So, lots of different words over the years. This year's word is what I'm going to share with you. And then I think what we'll do is go to an overhead of me decorating my Hobonichi cover. Do you want a spoiler for what it looks like when it's done? So this is the inside of the Hobonichi. And so we'll do an overhead of me piecing that together, and we'll talk a little bit about my word this year. And I'm curious to know what words you guys are thinking of if you do a word of the year. So my word this year is faith. And this word as my word of the year came to me during some dark days in August. You know that I was battling cancer and had chemotherapy. And I told you guys in the summer that I wasn't going to do a big deep dive into that treatment because my response to it, my body's response to it was frankly relatively unusual, to be honest with you. And I just need people to speak to their doctors and make their medicine and health choices based on their own conversations with their doctors, not on experiences from other people, much less my experience, and especially because mine was so odd. But I did have a very bad reaction to all of the parts of chemo, the drugs that they give you to offset the effects of chemo, like heavy-duty Benadryl and an anti-nausea that I had a very, very bad reaction to. There were all these components. And so August became a very dark month for me, and the word faith came to me as I was starting to come out of that darkness and find myself ever so slightly in little moments each day and getting outside again and trying to get some walks in here and there. And yeah, so we'll talk a little bit about the word faith. I want to say that there was a time in my life that I would have tied up the word faith with very dogmatic, specific secular religion. I would have tied up the word faith with somehow with the Bible or with Christianity as a specific, and that has changed considerably. So if you are getting ready to recoil from that word and shut this down, if you want to stick around and hear it out, we'll talk a little bit about how that word is very broad and open to me. It is not limited to a specific religion or text. And yeah, so let's take a look at the Hobonichi cover, do some collage work, and chat about faith. Okay, so first off, I'm just showing you a little bit of the Hobonichi that I ordered. You guys have seen this here before, and this is that linen kind of cover that I got, and I loved the image on it, but see that side that my finger's pointing at? It's already starting to get a little dirty, so I have some fears about this linen cover that I picked. That vinyl piece there, I loved it because it looked a little bit like collage, this artist's piece. So that was the attraction. But look at the back pocket. You can see along that line, it's starting to get a little dingy too. I may ultimately have to change gears and order a clear cover for it. And I was watching a podcast the other day, and I think I can order a clear cover from Midori that's a little bit wider than the one they offer from Hobonichi that might fit over that linen cover. So we'll see how that does. And then I'm only going to decorate this inside cover right now. I'm not worrying about the outside or any of the pages. These will be decorated as we go. Right now what I've done is just flag them with these little copper tabs from Midori, which are just kind of telling me where certain months and things are. But I actually ordered some tabs to run down the side of this. And so when those come in and I actually set this up for organization, I'll show you guys that. We'll do a little video on that. But here, I'm just going to start showing you some of the supplies I'm going to use for the inside cover, blank cover, which is such a nice little blank canvas for me. Some things I need to think about with this cover are going to include that I need to keep the left side of it kind of smooth. So I'll refer back to that a few times, and that's because that left side is going to have to slide into its linen cover. So here's just some supplies I'm pulling. These pretty papers that are in my hand right now. I love textured papers in my collage, but again, I'm gonna have to be careful on that left side not to add too much thickness over there so it can slide under the cover panel. These papers came from a company called Chapteries that is in Paris and unfortunately is also closing at the end of December. She did do a December sale that's listed on her Instagram page. I don't know what's left over on her site, but she was basically doing a closeout sale. You could take a look and see if you can find something there. She was lovely, but it's just the strains of small business, woman-owned, mom, lots going on. She decided to just close it for a bit. This sticker came from her as well. And these little textured papers and things like this vellum bag, I have no idea what came in this, but that material is just so kind of cool. So I just hang on to little things, and I started curating some things for this Hobonichi recently that all kind of had a similar vibe to them. They felt kind of boho and cream colored, and there's some glitter in there, but the glitter is sort of subtle in and of itself. I know that I pulled some map paper, tore a little piece of paper that had a map on it. I felt like for a planner, a map felt smart. And these little kind of boho looking stickers are from a bigger book of stickers. So I just pulled a few pages that seemed like they would work really well with this particular layout. I did end up using a couple of these, but not many. You'll see. And then this watercolor page, when I don't quite have it in me to be an artist and paint a scene, but I am craving painting, like the action of moving paint around paper, I'll do these washes on paper, and then when it dries, I'll go back. I did this writing I did with a paintbrush, but sometimes I'll go back with pen or a fountain pen, and you can write a little phrase or a poem or a line or nothing. You can just write words that you like hope and grace and faith, whatever you would like. And then I can tear these pieces up and stick them into journals. So it's a fun little creative outlet. And then it becomes paper that I don't mind tearing apart because it isn't a, fantastic painting or something. And then you'll see here, I'm going to try to be really careful again about that left side. It's going to have to slide under the panel that is this linen holder. So I'm going to use this tape, and I've showed you guys this tape before. Like these textured pieces here, I want to put them in, but then I'm going to have to smooth them over. See this journal that I've got here? If you look at the light, wherever you see it kind of shiny, that's that clear tape has been put over parts of it that were like kind of kicking up and getting caught either in the rubber band or every time I opened it up. These two pages were sort of protected, so they aren't getting in my way. See how I can actually move that around? So that's fine. But some of the ones that are on covers or outer edges, I want to get smoother so I'm not tearing them up. And the way I do that is put this clear gift tape over them. But this clear gift tape is Scotch brand clear gift tape. And to me, when I put it onto collage work and things like that, it is the clearest. Like it gives a shine to it. So you're going to lose your matte finish, but you absolutely cannot see it. It is so see-through. I just don't think, unless you knew to look for it, I don't think you would know it was there. Did you see it just disappear? So then if I pick this up and shine it through, like shine it on the light, there you go. You get a little glimpse of it, but basically it's completely invisible. And then that tool I'm using is called a folding bone. And I ordered that from a stationery shop in Manhattan back in the early 90s, but I'm sure you can find them. Bone folder, I've heard it referred to, or folding bone. And it's used by bookbinders to create the spine, like the inside, that part of a book. But I use it for smoothing things over. And I think if you had an old Amazon gift card, an old used up, no money on it left Visa gift card, that would work pretty well too. But I've had this tool forever and I really do love it. Mine, I don't know what it's made out of, but I do not think bone is the answer. I assume they probably used to be made out of whalebone or something like that. So that's some of the tools that I'm going to use for this. And when it comes to collage, the day picks me. I don't set into my calendar, today is collage day. I just wait until the mood strikes. And boy, when it does, I know it. Here is the glue that I'm using right now, and I am in love with this glue stick. I did order this from Amazon, and it's working wonders for me. It's acid free. I can put a link to that below if you would like. And I'm going to get started. I just put glue stick all over the paper, or all over the notebook, and now I'm just adding paper here and there. And again, I wanted to keep that left side a little smooth, so I didn't tear the outer left edge of that paper. See how I left it just nice? Because I just want to keep that a little bit smooth over there, and that's going to be tucked under that panel anyway. But I do prefer rough edges. I like to tear the paper. So there's that map paper I was talking about that just, I don't know, a map seems appropriate in the front of a planner, which happens to be a map of my 2025, right? My life out before me. So now I'm going to just start the process of decorating this planner and talking to you about words of the year. some of the words for past years, I wrote them down from older journals so we could go through them. In the past, I've used the word of the year was presence. As I said, I don't mean gifts wrapped up with a bow. I mean being here and in the now. And practicing our ability to be present is, well, it was for me an absolute practice. It was something that I had to begin to make a focal point of engaging in every day. Presence was not a part of my norm. I had no training in it and no understanding of it. The world that we live in is so full of distractions. Our phones are forever beeping and binging, and so are our iPads, and so are our computers. And it just seems like info and distraction is coming at us 24/7. In my journey of finding presence in several moments throughout the day, I started to become well practiced at being present most of the day. And through that, I started a practice of turning off the distractions. Now, that very well may be a discussion for another time, because it in of itself was its own practice. But I have no audible notifications on any of my devices. Nothing rings, nothing dings, nothing beeps, nothing clicks. And that took time to adjust to and accept as my norm. And now I wouldn't have it any other way. But presence, that was a word one year. One year, my word was boundaries. I just didn't have any, and I didn't know that it was okay to set them. I had never been taught that. And so I started practicing setting boundaries. One year, my word was balance. Things were out of balance. I was working too much. I was not finding time for myself. I was finding no time for creativity and just no quiet. And it was time to find balance. I spent a whole year working on that. One year, my word was ease, E-A-S-E. And what I really meant by that was, for me, it was kind of a different way of saying slow down. I kind of felt like, if you were to take your foot off the gas, you're not stopping, but what you are doing is easing back, right? Or easing up is a phrase I've heard. I felt like that's more where I was going with ease. It was about just take your foot off the gas pedal. It doesn't have to be to the floor every minute, every day. So I didn't want to give myself a task like slow down, Andrea. That felt like a task I would be assigning to myself. So I used the word ease that year, and it worked beautifully for me. I really enjoyed that. This year, the word is faith. And as I said in that opening, I could see myself 10 years ago, if someone had told me that their word of the year was faith, that I would kind of recoil from that conversation. I would have assumed that they were about to get into a conversation about Christianity or the Bible, and that would have frightened me back in the day. It doesn't anymore. But I thought I would talk to you about faith in all its forms and why it's so valuable to me at this point in my life. And I think that one of the most amazing things that human beings do is live from a place of faith. Every time you drive your car, you're putting faith into those tires and the mechanics who built your engine. You're putting faith into the other drivers on the road, that they are sober and sound and responsible and paying attention. And we live our lives in a constant state of faith. We put our faith in all kinds of things, and we need to. Living our life the opposite way, always assuming the worst, would be a horrible way to go. So I love that human beings have this incredible ability to find faith in so many actions and in others every single day of our lives. But the way that it's working for me right now in a few forms includes some of these. So faith that whatever the current challenges we are facing, will do the following. One, move on. We will get through whatever these challenges are. And I think at any given time in our life, we are faced with very hard challenges and very minor challenges, a big challenge, no challenges. I mean, that's kind of the ebb and flow of things. But I always have faith that I will make it. So far, my survival rate on this planet is 100%. I've never not made it through anything that life has handed me up to this point. So I can have pretty grounded faith that I'll make it through. The next part of that is faith that there was a reason for it. For whatever the sadness or the pain or the fear or the experience may be or may have been, I have faith that there is a reason for these paths that are set out before us. And that takes practice, I think. I think that for me, I've always felt that I've lived a life that's had a lot of luck in it. I have certainly faced a lot of challenges too, but I can't look at all of the things that have gone super well, despite my abilities or otherwise, and have faith in those, and then not have faith in the bad things also having a purpose. Does that make sense? So if I believe in good luck, then I have to believe that the bad things also are bringing something important to the show. So there's a reason for it. The other thing that I have faith in is that I will be a better version of myself after any tough experience, that all tough experiences that I have had have led me to grow. They've given me a foundation from which to grow and shown me that I can be a stronger, more compassionate, kinder, more aware person when I step back and face these challenges. So I have faith in that. So that's a version of faith for me as well. And I also think that this word is important as we learn to trust ourselves. Can we have faith in the decisions that we're making? Can we have faith in the things that we share? Can we have faith in our motivations as we move through each day? And so faith in myself, I think, is another big part of that word and why it's so important to me. And then faith in people as a whole. You know, the reality is that I believe that people are good, and I believe there is good in this world, and I think there is more good than not. And I have faith every day in that truth. And so there's some peace given to me by my faith in that also. So just some thoughts about different ways to look at the word faith. Of course, coming through cancer and being so ill from the drugs and the treatments, a lot of faith had to go on there. I had to have faith that my doctors were going to guide me through safely. I had to have faith that my surgeon's hands would be guided and would see me safely through. I had to have faith that my body would respond and accept its challenge to heal. We see faith in so many ways every day. And I feel like it's one of those things that is so prevalent in my life right now that's always been there, but I just haven't looked at it as clearly as I am right now. And so that's why it's super important to me at this time too. I want it to be my focus this year is faith in all of those forms. And so I will continue to keep that word at the forefront of my mind as I move through 2025, a year of faith. Okay, so I hope you've enjoyed some of what we've been talking about today. The last little bit of this, I'm going to do you an update on my Christmas journal. That is the thing that was housed back here. You'll recall from a recent video, this was free, this little hardcover journal with my Hobonichi this year, and I have turned it into a little Christmas journal. So I did some overhead of that, and so I'll explain to you a little bit about what's been going on in this. I'm really enjoying it, and the kinds of things I'm putting here I'll show you in just a minute. I think there'll be things that'll be helpful to refer back to next year, but I also think there are things that will be fun to refer back to next year. And if I don't just completely fill this with Christmas stuff, then like I said, I might add some other holiday things to this throughout the year. It fits so nicely in this back of this Hobonichi, so I might try to keep this going for who knows what, birthdays, the 4th of July, who knows. But we'll take a look at this, and with that, we will send it out. I'm going to do an overhead of this and some voiceover to show you what this is about, and then I'll throw in a picture or two of Echo, and we'll carry on from there. I did want to mention that proverb, 31:25. You saw that in this Hobonichi, on the back of that marker that I did that has the faith 2025. That's where I put that. And proverbs are interesting. That's another word that would have had frightened of religion me back in the day, kind of recoiling a little bit if someone suggested that they were going to share a proverb with me. But I actually looked up the definition of proverb one day and wrote it down. And basically, it's a story in any language. That's the short. I was going to look up the definition. Of course, I can't find it for this video. Oh, here it is. Proverb, a story in any language, a short saying that expresses a general truth for practical living. I mean, that doesn't feel super religious or secular to me, right? And of course, there are proverbs in all kinds of Chinese literature, all sorts of Eastern literature, and in Western literature, and in European literature, and in Greek mythology. I mean, proverbs come up in all kinds of ways. And the Proverb 31, it's actually verse 25 that spoke to me, and it is as follows. She is clothed in strength and dignity, and she can laugh at the days to come. When I was really hurting, physically hurting, it was also emotionally hurting. Losing my hair was harder than I thought. And I have faith that these challenges that we go through give us room to grow and become better versions of ourselves. And I had no question that I would step out of this cancer journey clothed in strength and dignity. And boy, can I laugh at the days to come. One thing about facing trials is that we get through things we never thought we could. And then we prove to ourselves how incredibly powerful we really are. And we can laugh at the days to come. So let's take a peek at this bad boy. I'll say goodbye to you here, and I'll catch you in the next video. And I would love it if you would share with me your word of the year if you're going to do one. So we'll take a little Christmas tour as the end to our video today. Thanks for being here, and I'll see you guys soon. So here's my little Christmas journal. I don't know that I've been writing in it every single day, but I've definitely kept up with it. You guys saw in the last video that I did, you saw me set this up a little bit. I did a watercolor Christmas tree in the front, and then I did some collage work over on the left-hand side, of course. And I've really had fun just kind of, I'll put a little Christmas saying on the back of that at some point is what I think I'm pointing out there. And maybe a Christmas sticker. I don't really have any Christmas stickers, so because my stickers don't have a tendency to be very literal. And I pinned this piece of paper in the last video. I don't think I told y'all what it was. This is the embroidery advent. So you get 25 cute little envelopes. The hoop and the fabric are already together when you open up your box. I had a cute little bow there, and I messed it up with another stitch. I might have to redo it, but my mistletoe looks pretty good. And that little keeper for your needle minder was one of the days. So each day there's a little something to open, and sometimes it's a stitch, sometimes it's another piece of that jigsaw puzzle of the actual pattern. And then this piece of paper came with it, and it has all the instructions, but also all my ordering information. So I think next year I'll be really glad that I just set that in a safe place. I will definitely order it again. These pretty little Christmassy things came from a letter that came to me from one of my pen pals, which was really sweet. I taped some watercolor paper down on this notebook paper because it's super thin paper, and I wanted to be able to write with my Kaweco fountain pen, and I put the ink canister that's green, hunter green, in it, so it's kind of Christmas writing. And then now I've just kind of gone through and just reinforced some pages with a little bit of watercolor paper here and there. You know me and my moving parts. I just like to have stuff that's moves around. I will probably put some Christmas tags, like gift tags, and torn bits of wrapping paper and things like that in as well. And basically what I'm doing now is just sort of journaling. I threw in some notes about ornaments, meaning the way that I stored some ideas about ornaments for next year. I also put in some notes about like how we decorated the tree this year, because I love what we did with it. It looks really good. And we did the colored lights this year, and we go back and forth. We do colored one year, we do white one year. And that's simply because my husband loves colored lights and I love white lights, and that's how we both get to have the tree that we want. But I did some ornament purging and whatnot, and so I made some notes about that. I also have a fantasy in my mind that for our white lights next year, our ornaments are all going to be crocheted, and they're all going to be kind of ivory and undyed grayish sort of colors. And so I made some notes about that too. If I want to get that started, I need to get that started in January though. So here's just some diary entries, basically kind of what I've been up to every few days. And I think I've been doing it like December, 8 through 11, something like that. Like I haven't been going every single day. And just sort of some reminders of what we've been up to. I found that really cute woodland sticker in one of my collections. It felt kind of holiday-ish, certainly wintry, if nothing else. So, yeah, and I plan to just kind of keep info in here about gifts, things that I gave. I've already written down some, just so I don't repeat things next year. I don't know that I would, but it'd be nice to be sure about that. And I have a little to do today. And so I put that in there because it's some stuff that really needs to get done. And I'll be curious to look back at that last year, at what I managed to accomplish. So I'm just going to keep adding stuff in there, sticking little bits in. It's really fun. I'm really enjoying it. And I'm glad I added it to this year's lineup. And the book reading is continuing. It's so much fun. This is a pretty little angel that I thought I'd show you guys. My mom and my sister bought that angel, I think in 1968, and I have somehow been the keeper of her for many, many years. And so I am proud to do so. And this book, Sweet Tooth, if you guys are looking for a Christmas gift for yourself, it is such a fun baking book. I cannot more highly recommend it. I am really loving baking out of that. So I hope you guys are having a delightful December. I can't wait to catch up with you another time. Have a really glorious day.